I'm now joined by, of course, the first guest for today, Natalia, Goagoses, the Honorable Deputy Minister of Higher Education, Training and Innovation. A very good morning to you, and thank you so much for making time out to join us this morning.
Good morning, Ricardo, and thank you for having me this morning.
We're, of course, meeting in a bit of a somber time. It's been quite tough for a lot of you that work particularly so closely with the President, but I have to ask, how did the news of the President's passing reach you, and what were some of your initial reactions to that news?
Thank you, Ricardo, for that question. Very difficult to explain to the nation this morning how the news of our departed President has reached me. In fact, mine was in a very unique way. 2 days before his departure, I just literally collapsed on a Friday, the 2nd of February. And when they took me to medical center in Okahanja, I was diagnosed with food poisoning, apparently. So I became literally sick. The next morning, the Saturday, the 3rd of February, I have decided, because I was sick, decided to isolate. I quarantined myself, literally. And I was taken to a communal area between Usakos and Arandes, where I spent my Saturday restless. I did not know that my president was not well. I did not know that he was sick. But the manner in which his departure prepared me was just indescribable. So the news that Saturday, I was there alone at my place. And when I got the phone call, the morning hours, I just came not to accept. I got mute. I could not say anything. I just switched off the telephone and I started to search the face of the Heavenly Father in prayers. For the 2 days, I could not talk. I could not, literally, I was impaired. I was deaf. I could not see anything. That is how the death of my president, my father, the global statesman, has affected my physical, psychological being.
Let's take a step back and before we talk about the professional relationship, focus a bit on the personal relationship. What were your initial encounters with Hage Geingob, the man? When was the first time you encountered him?
Way back, Ricardo, before independence, when we were senior students in, by then, Tamaraland, at the school called President Hage Geingob. And when we started to become young teachers, when we completed our studies, the name of Hage Geingob was already whispered into our ears, together with his other liberation struggle icons. So Hage was known to me many, many decades ago. Probably not the first encounter per se, but
what was some of the nature of those whispers?
That this person, a son of the soil, who left Namibia after he has obtained his qualification as a teacher, he started to teach in Chumeb, but he had a bigger vision when he left for the liberation of this country, when he appeared as a young man to dialogue, to debate about the liberation of this country. So that's where I started to learn about this big giant. When he became the director of UNIN, that's when I started to appreciate and started to honor this great man. So that was way, way back in the 70s and so on. probably the most memorable encounter with this fallen global statesman was on the 20th of March, 2020, exactly 20 minutes before 2 o'clock, when he called me personally from a landline and informed me that through a very difficult screening process, he, Hage, the president, has decided to pick me amongst his 8 Namibians to come and assist in the governance in his administration. That moment I shall never forget.
How did it feel like? How was it like getting that phone call?
It was again like I was paralyzed because I have never expected to be called by this great global statesman, because I have never attempted, not one time, to indicate that I want to become part of his administration in that level.
At that level, yeah.
At that level. So therefore, it was like, a thunderstorm coming down to me. That's where I started to appreciate and honor the statesman.
During the time when the phone call comes in, initially, of course, you're only informed of being a member of parliament, or are you also informed during that phone call around the responsibilities of becoming deputy minister? Or is that the first one is just about being member of parliament?
The phone call was merely to tell me it is extremely difficult, Mrs. Goagoses, and he was speaking in his mother tongue.
Oh.
He was telling me in his mother tongue that it was extremely difficult to select me, Natalia. And that was my first encounter with this president, face to face. And he told me that he is going to, and I did not even understand that time what he meant. And as I said earlier on, I have never indicated, I did not even know how those processes works. So he did not tell me that he is going to make me what and what, but he said he is going to pick me as one of his 8 experienced Namibians to be part of his governance. Yes.
I think particularly when we talk about the experience as well, I think a lot of people, or some might not know the background, your background in education, as an educator, as an administrator. Just reflect a little bit on that, because I think that there's also a lot of parallels that one can draw from there. The fact that the president, of course, himself also was an administrator and a teacher before when he made that decision.
Absolutely, Ricardo. I too much in so many ways relate myself with this great man. Me being an educator myself, me being a director at one stage, which he was, me being an administrator who did not just administer the affairs of those institutions, but who has left remarkable impact at the institutions that I have worked. In fact, he was my silent role model. I was trying to follow his footsteps. As I said earlier on, we were both educators, administrators, directors, and now he has brought me also to be a political office bearer. So I can tell you, listeners, that in no way was this president, my friend. Not at all. He was my president, he was my father figure.
One of the things that people have been mentioning was that he had a keen eye for identifying talent. And for many times you would think that will only be probably for young people, but I think even in your cases, you say you're coming, of course, as a director formerly in education. What can you tell about his eye for, the kind of skill set and the kind of people that he wanted to work with him, particularly speaking to his leadership skills?
I think him being a serious performer, results-oriented type of a administrator, I think he had a proper eye to identify talents. And for me to have been picked as one of those, and I must really say there are so many other capable Namibians, but for me to have been picked, he might have seen something, because I myself do not sleep, Ricardo, fellow Namibians, when things are not right. As a director of education, I made sure that everyone who is discharging his or her role in whatever strata of education must have done his or her part. If you are a cleaner, you make sure that you clean the best. If you are a teacher, you make sure that the teaching and learning in the classroom takes place. And if you fail to do that, then I was able, that's also one of my skills that he has perhaps identified, to reward
those who are doing well.
Those who are doing well. And I also, without fear or favor, in the interest of the nation, I also had that capability to punish. I had to, at one stage, reshuffle one thing that only me as a director in this country was able to do. After I have identified some of the shortcomings in my schools in Omaheke, I had to take that decision, not famous, to reshuffle my principles, and that has also yielded. And I'm sure my president was following what I was doing as a director in education.
A bit earlier on, of course, you were also mentioning, when we're talking about his style of administration, you were mentioning that he was like a CEO. He had a CEO approach to administration. Talk to us about that. What do you mean when you say that he is like a CEO in terms of his administrative skills?
Ricardo, you cannot just be an administrator of note out of the blue. You must have possessed some sort of knowledge. And this president was highly knowledgeable in terms of, what he was doing. He has got world views, exposure, coupled with professional qualifications. He meant business when he came and became the first prime minister of this republic. He came and found Hage, came and found our republic in a fragmented manner. Only a knowledgeable, highly skilled person can integrate, can bring a system that is working for everyone in the country. So that is why I call him also as one of the top CEOs Namibia could produce. So he was knowledgeable, he was able to apply his knowledge, so he had that skill. And that skill has also drawn, Ricardo, and we have seen it in many, many ways. That skill has drawn a broader network. So this president was able to engage, he was able to consult, so he has brought a broader network for our republic. And that has also made us to expand our resources. We have seen the discoveries of new oil, the green hydrogen. Only a knowledgeable leader, a CEO, who sees business in whatever institution can do that. And he has left this Namibia in good hand with a good reputation.
What was his vision for higher education?
Yeah, when he appointed me, as I said, as if the 20th of March 2020 call was enough. Not long ago, I think in September, I was again redeployed from the previous position of local government, regional and local government. When he redeployed me, he motivated why he is doing that. And he said, Natalia Goagoses, you being an educationalist, I am redeploying you to go and perform the government programs at the Ministry of Higher Education. Go and improve them. Go and accelerate the fourth industrial revolution. Make sure that the programs that are mandated to be executed by Ministry of Higher Education through your assistance are indeed implemented. So he had a vision for this higher education. So therefore, I immediately started to assist the minister under whom I am serving this ministry. One very important aspect, and I have already shown the world that I have got passion and I'm compassionate about this higher education, especially the program of TVET, Technical and Vocational Education Training. That is where I am focusing to ensure that this negative connotation about the TVET programs needs to be dispelled. So I am hard at work to ensure that his vision, as far as the higher education ministry is concerned, is indeed fully implemented.
Well, that specific focus that you're talking about in terms of the technical and vocational education training, are people starting to buy into it, particularly young people? Or do you think we still have much to do there?
We still have to, definitely, because for long this negative connotation about the TVET centers has been implanted. So it will take some time, and we are not going to waste time to dispel that connotation. So currently, I am busy working with the NTA to ensure that this awareness is created as far as the importance of these TVET programs. No country has been built and constructed without the skilled technical vocational education training, and that is where we are spending most of our focus in these ministries of ours, in our Ministry of Higher Education and Innovation.
Well, they say in terms of the administration, from that perspective, particularly if you look at something like education, it's not very easy compared to other what other ministries have to deal with, because you have to deal now with not only the students but also the parents. And for you educators, usually you say it's sort of a tripartite effort that must be put in order for you to reach those results of education. What kind of legacy do you think he leaves in that space for the country?
No, he does a lot. My words, my opinions, and what I'm going to say will be insufficient, but he has put systems and processes in place in order for each and every Namibian to have access to these programs. He has created an entity to assist our students who are qualifying, who has got the interest in this field. One other area also that I have to ensure it works for each and every Namibian is the entity called NASFAF, Namibian Student Assistance Fund, to ensure that each and every Namibian child who qualifies, who is eligible to enter these programs, be it TVET programs, be it tertiary education programs, be assisted, especially those deserving Namibians. So he has put systems and processes into place. It's now for us who are put in those positions of responsibility to ensure that, as I said, and I put my emphasis on it, each and every Namibian child not to be left behind, especially those who are deserving and those who qualify to be in this benefit from these programs.
Well, in conclusion, what is your message to the Namibian nation, of course, the nation in mourning, as we're headed to take the president to his final resting place?
Yeah, it's extremely difficult, Ricardo. And I want to, probably in his honor, what is it that I have learned? What is it that we have learned? All of
let's start there.
Those speakers, he hailed him as unifier even at the UN level. He is a man of remarkable presence. He is a man who knows how to connect, how to unify. He was hailed, everyone who stood up. So, but what is it that you do if you have to honor his legacy? In my case, whilst he was alive, Ricardo, and I want to encourage the fellow Namibians, those administrators who have got this responsibility, to just do the right thing. I am an administrator. I headed an institution in the Erongo region. I made sure that the systems, processes, and institutions for that institution was indeed 100% as per the mandate, as per the letter. You can go and do further research. I am one of the administrators, Ricardo, who has left that institution with a 5-year unqualified financial audit report. I am one of those accounting officers who were ready to account, to be transparent in my dealings. I am one of those administrators, and it's not difficult, each and every administrator can do that, if you are to honor and respect his legacy, who was so concerned and so, passionate about integrating Namibians. I was never happy if my establishment was full of same groups. I was, as accounting officer, questioning my HR administrators to say, but where is the policy of integration? Where is the policy of affirmative action? Why does it look as if we are not unifying? We are not integrating. So I really hail myself to say I have already, whilst he was alive, following his philosophy, his vision of integration, his vision of unifying, his vision of one Namibia, one nation. That is one honor and respect if we are to have his legacy to continue. So therefore, I really call upon those administrators in the offices, yes, to do the right thing. Let us be inclusive in our governance operations. Let us be worried if you do not see every Namibian, demographically speaking, is not part of your establishment. Let us motivate, let us reward, let us start also identifying the talents irrespective of the background or the tribal lines and so on. As we are mourning, coming back to your question, I can only express my profound gratitude to the widow, Madam Monica Geingobs. If we feel the way we are feeling, I cannot imagine how the widow, my beautiful, my brilliant sister, Omaros, is really feeling. We can only say we are sharing in your pain, Madam Monica, the family. Thank you very much that you were willing to share this great man with us. I think probably most of the time he spent with us, the children. Yesterday I attended the service. You got a lot of messages. Follow the footstep. Don't disappoint the legacy of your father. And as a nation, let us all unite, stand together, and continue to make sure that his legacy indeed.
Thank you very much for making time out to join us this morning, Honorable.
Thank you very much, Ricardo.
Honorable Natalia Goagoses giving us some insights, Deputy Minister of Higher Education, Training and Innovation, of course, reflecting on the personal relationship with the late president and also reflecting on his leadership skills in as far as state administration is concerned.